There are 5 words that every Australian knows. 5 words that became a punchline, a meme, and eventually, a symbol of one of the greatest failures of justice in Australian history. A dingo took my baby. Lindy Chamberlain said those words, or words, very close to them, on the night of August 17, 1980, at Uluru. Her 9-week-old daughter, Azaria, had disappeared from a tent. The family believed a dingo had taken her. What followed was a legal and media circus that consumed Australia for years. Lindy Chamberlain was convicted of murder in 1982. She served 3 years in prison, including giving birth behind bars. Then a piece of Azaria's clothing was found near a dingo lair, and everything unraveled. She was exonerated, compensated, and yet, the damage was done. This week, in a new interview, Lindy Chamberlain, now 76 years old, said something she has never said quite so directly before. The jurors, she said, did not understand the evidence, and she wants change. Let's quickly tell the story, for anyone who doesn't know the full history, because it's important. On the night of August 17, 1980, the Chamberlain family, Lindy, her husband Michael, and their children were camping at Uluru, then known as Ayers Rock. Lindy went to check on baby Azaria in the tent and saw a dingo leaving. Azaria was gone. A search found nothing. Azaria's body was never recovered. What police found, weeks later, was some of her clothing, her jumpsuit near the rock. But in the investigation that followed, forensic experts made errors. Scientists gave evidence that was later found to be flawed, and the media and a significant portion of the Australian public had already decided what they believed. They believed Lindy Chamberlain had killed her daughter. The prosecution's theory at trial was that Lindy had cut Azaria's throat in the front seat of the family car. The evidence included expert testimony about fetal hemoglobin, a substance found in the car that scientists claimed was blood. It wasn't. It was a sound-deadening compound used in the car's manufacture, but the jury didn't know that at the time. In 1982, Lindy Chamberlain was found guilty of murder and sentenced to life imprisonment with hard labor. Michael was found guilty as an accessory. Australia watched, debated, and largely judged. In 1986, a baby's matinee jacket was found near Uluru, close to a dingo lair. This was significant because Lindy had always said Azaria was wearing a jacket that night, and the prosecution had argued no such jacket existed. The discovery triggered a royal commission. It found that the conviction should not have been sustained. Lindy was released, and the convictions were quashed. In 1995, a coronial inquest returned an open finding, unable to determine the cause of death. For many people, this still felt incomplete, like the system still couldn't bring itself to fully say a dingo did it. The family was right. It wasn't until 2012, 32 years after Azaria disappeared, that a 4th coronial inquest finally delivered the verdict the family had been fighting for. The cause of death attack by a dingo. Coroner Elizabeth Morris said she was satisfied beyond all reasonable doubt that Azaria Chamberlain died as a result of being attacked and taken by a dingo. 32 years. For a mother to be believed about what she saw. Now, in 2026, Lindy Chamberlain has given a new interview in which she reflects on the trial with a clarity and a specificity she hasn't always shown publicly before. She says the jurors didn't understand the evidence. Not that they were malicious, not that the system was deliberately corrupt, but that highly technical forensic science, expert testimony about blood spatter analysis, hemoglobin identification, dingo bite patterns, was being presented to a jury of ordinary people who had no framework to evaluate it critically. She told the interviewer that she wants to see change. Specifically, she wants better systems for explaining complex scientific evidence to juries. Systems that ensure jurors can genuinely understand what they're being asked to decide, rather than defaulting to gut instinct or media-influenced preconceptions. This is not a new problem in the justice system. Expert evidence in criminal trials has long been a challenge. The adversarial system puts expert witnesses from each side against each other, and juries are left to decide who to believe. When the science is genuinely complex, that's an enormous ask. In Australia, there have been ongoing debates about jury reform, about the use of court-appointed independent experts rather than adversarial witnesses, and about how to help juries understand statistical and scientific evidence. Lindy Chamberlain's case where junk science contributed to a murder conviction of an innocent woman, is one of the most powerful arguments for why this matters. The cultural dimension of this story is also worth pausing on, because the way Australia treated Lindy Chamberlain in 1980 and 1982 says something important about media, public opinion, and the presumption of innocence. Before the trial, Australian newspapers and television were already convicting her. Her demeanor was criticized. She was called cold, unemotional, not the way a grieving mother should look. Her religion, the family, were Seventh-day Adventists, was treated with suspicion. The way she spoke about her faith was used against her in the court of public opinion. She didn't cry the right way. She didn't perform grief in the way the public expected, and that cost her enormously, not in the formal evidence at trial, but in the atmosphere in which that trial took place. There's a direct line from what happened to Lindy Chamberlain in 1982 to debates we still have today about how accused people, particularly women, are expected to behave in high-profile cases. The idea that grief looks a certain way, that innocence should be visible, that not crying enough means you must be guilty. Lindy Chamberlain spent 3 years in prison for a crime she didn't commit. She gave birth to a daughter, Kalia, in prison. She was compensated, eventually, but no amount of money restores the years that were taken. She is 76 years old now. She has outlived some of her harshest critics. She has seen her family's account fully vindicated in court, and she still wants change not for herself, but so that what happened to her doesn't happen to someone else. That is, by any measure, an extraordinary level of grace. Australia has changed since 1980. The media landscape has changed. Our understanding of forensic science has changed. Our public conversation about grief and trauma and the presumption of innocence has changed. But the fundamental question Lindy Chamberlain is still asking: can ordinary juries genuinely understand complex evidence? And what happens when they can't is as relevant today as it was 46 years ago. Do you remember following the Chamberlain case when you were growing up? Or have you only come to know it through the history books? Drop it in the comments. This is one of those stories that means something different, depending on what generation you are. Like and subscribe for more Australian stories explained simply. See you next time.